Howdy there, folks. It's White Lightning. Welcome back to Cities Skylines. This is our city, beautiful city of Alexandria, which right now is kind of dumb and podunk and stuff. But we're going to change that this episode as we work on just growing the city, getting some essential services down first off, and also dealing with our finances, making sure our books are balanced and things like that. So first off, the first thing that's, I think, critical is to get our garbage collection. And I said last episode, my goal for this playthrough is going to be play a pretty clean city as far as energy goes and things like that, but I think we're going to go ahead and start off with the landfill. These recycling centers are just so dang expensive, and they're nice, but because they don't, landfills are really annoying because once they fill up, then you have to deal with the trash, right? Again, a reflection of a real life problem. Although that being said, landfills don't take up like that much room. I know everybody complains about landfills and stuff, but like you can fit the garbage for a lot of people in a landfill that's not huge. Of course, it's super ugly and hard to hide and things like that. But especially if you're living out west like me, it's like the land's kind of ugly anyway, and we've got lots of it, so might as well use landfills, right? Yeah. Again, not the best option, but that's what we're going to start with, and then what we'll really be waiting for is hitting a population of 5,000 so we can get these incineration plants. Those are super nice. Not super clean burning, but they do let us turn the garbage into energy, which is a sensible thing for us to do. So the first thing we're going to do for that is let's go ahead and that's going to go over here. This is going to be kind of our dirty area, right? So let's go ahead and just get ourselves a little 2-lane road over here. Oh, and one thing. Oh, I always forget about these. Oh, dang it. No, never mind. We don't have the industrial 2-lane roads unlocked. Never mind. I was going to say those are really nice to have for your industrial areas because maintenance costs a lot less, and of course a road going to nowhere makes you no money. So let's go ahead and just right here at the end of this road we can place down a landfill. I may regret not sending that farther away, but we'll be okay. So there's a landfill there. Now that we have the industry right here, I'm actually going to go ahead and also I'd like to point out that we are cash flow positive here on our budget, which is kind of a surprise to me that we hit positive this early. That feels like a really good sign. Good auspicious beginning to the series, right? So I'm going to go ahead and actually delete these power lines that run there, and I'll have to leave that little string for now. It might be kind of interesting running up there. We have windmills right next to houses there, so we might get some issues there. But we're going to go ahead and grab now just a normal power line running over there, so that's a lot shorter, a lot more out of the way, a lot more hidden. We can't have that whole area freed up now to build in, so that'll be really nice. So we still got that powered. Next, I'll go ahead and run on speed 1 for right now that we've got the essential stuff. Garbage, once garbage becomes available, it is essential for you to do garbage. The other services aren't essential for you to place right away, but garbage totally is. So definitely recommend doing that right off the bat. And then, I was talking last time, I think I'm just going to go ahead and do this now. This is probably going to end up being an arterial road that links up here, so we'll have this loop of these 4-lane roads, and then we can send a couple more out here. GMO corn grows 3 times faster than regular corn. Yeehaw. Right, my dad, so I grew up on a farm, a family farm, and there's, a lot of people rag on GMOs. There is a lot to be said for them, for a lot of reasons. For one thing, and I think one of the big shames about people hating on GMOs is that you can have crops that take less water and take less chemical, and it's actually easier to have. And I'm no expert with organic food, and I admittedly don't really have a stake in this fight, right? I don't really care or whatever, but you can have food that's not treated with pesticides, that doesn't have to have tractors run over it as much or as often to keep weeds down and things like that. You can have all of that without you can have food that doesn't require all of those things if you just tweak the genes in it a little bit to require less water, to be more drought and weed resistant. And ends up actually, with some applied science being less impactful on the environment. And there's some literature out there if you guys are interested. I can't remember the guy actually, but he used to be a big climate activist and anti-agriculture activist and stuff like that. And then he was like, wait, we can use these GMO crops and switch over to them in many cases. Like, everything's got to be tested and vetted, of course. Like, that I totally agree with, just so there aren't any health concerns. But you know, like, we can switch over to these and at the same time drastically reduce the amount of land and the number of resources that it actually takes to feed the human population. Which is pretty cool. So anyway, sorry, that may like spark some uncomfortable political discussions, and everybody might be like, "Oh, you hate the planet, you're an idiot." Sorry, that wasn't my intent at all. I was just trying to, you know, give my perspective on that particular issue. Let's go ahead. Looks like our demand for industry is rising a little bit, and so let's go ahead and make a new block, which is going to go ahead and destroy that power line that I just barely placed, which is, you know, how the game goes, honestly. There we go. That'll be fine. And let's get ourselves... I keep pausing. I need to pause less when I play City Skylines. Honestly, that's one of... that's something that I need to work on, is pausing less. Yeah, we're just throwing industry here. This will get cleaned up, and some of it will move away at some point when we have access to actual industry areas. Oh, we should talk about taxes, too. So, taxes and budget. I'm going to go ahead and... Messing with these sliders at the beginning of the game annoys me. It just does. Yeah, we could min and max things to, you know, make sure we're not spending any more on electricity than we have to, and actual cities would. They would have, you know, people doing break-even analyses and stuff for power, water, garbage, sewer, to see, you know, exactly how much do we need to charge to break even and then make enough money to cover operations. Which is why these services here are called enterprise funds. That's how they're accounted for, is because they are actually run like a business in that they're supposed to make a profit, at least enough to cover operating costs, which is not a bad thing, because somebody's got to pay for, you know, who provides your power, your sewer, your water, and your garbage. And it makes more sense, at least it makes sense to me, and I like the systems that put more of the burden for paying for things like that on the people who are using more services. So if you got a huge lawn and you're intent on watering it, you know, 3 times a day or whatever, I'm totally okay with you paying more for that, and you know, the city making a little bit more of a profit off of you. But with taxes, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to leave residential at 10%. I'm going to jack up the commercial and the industrial to 11%. Consensus seems to be that don't go any higher than 11 or 12 for your taxes. So because that's when you start to lose people, and you know, if I really wanted to drive industry away, I would jack taxes way the heck up. We're not to that point yet in the playthrough. I might do that at some point in the future, is kind of say industry, you know, you're going to be polluting or whatever, you're going to be taking up a lot of resources, because industry takes up a lot of water too, and it's expensive to maintain. You can say, you know, you're going to be doing that, we're going to charge you more for it, make you pay more for your impact, which again, that's making the people who have more of an impact, use more resources, pay more money, which makes a degree of sense for a lot of things. So, okay, let's go ahead and take things up to speed 3 then. Probably gonna need, yeah, we're already almost out of power. Those windmills do not put out a lot, you guys. And you know what? This is actually probably the best place for them moving forward. Okay, so we got one down there. That'll fix our power problems. And then, oh, we're up to Worthy Village. Here we go. So we can now unlock a new piece of ground. That's the next thing we're going to do, probably. We can set districts, policies. We can get a second loan and specialize our districts. And do all sorts of emergency services. So yeah, we are cooking, man. Cooking with gas here. Let's first provide the very basic services that the town needs, which is water right there. And, oh yeah, I deviated from my perfect grid, and this is messed up. It's okay. It's just a teeny tiny corner, and I don't even really need to fill it in right now, so I'm not gonna worry about it. Go ahead and unpause and run on speed 1. Like I say, I pause a lot because I just don't want things to get away from me. That's the RTS gamer in me, like, is pausing, like, okay, give orders to your spaceships or whatever. Yeah, so I pause a lot. Residential demand is growing. We still haven't put down our basic services yet. So I'm going to go ahead and put down the school, and I will actually, when we're going aesthetics, I will probably gravitate towards the ones that are more American and new in look, rather than the older and perhaps more European look. Simply because we're playing in a temperate zone, and I'm an American, we're driving on the right-hand side of the road, etc. I don't know. It feels like this is a country or this is a city in the U.S. Also, where in Europe or wherever are you going to find this much land that has, you know, that's resource rich and stuff that doesn't already have a bunch of cities on it and things like that? We're in the U.S. too, frankly. I mean, there's a reason the East was settled before the West. A, proximity. B, the West kind of sucks. As far as the actual, like, you have to do more work to make this land actually produce out here in the West. Okay, so there's our school. We'll start getting people educated now. We have just about 200 elementary school students eligible, and so they will start to get educated, which is great. Human replicants, excellent for physical labor. Tyrell Corporation ship them off to the moon. I think it's fun reading those little tweets because they kind of mesh with like surviving Mars and the other Paradox games, which is kind of fun. So we've got that school down. We were also going to do a medical center. I know I'm taking a long time, guys, but this is actually the first time that I've played City Skylines with people listening, or on screen, and so it's kind of fun to talk about things as we're doing it. We'll go ahead and put our medical clinic down right there. It'll be, basically right downtown, which is great. And the school will be not far away from it. Might rezone this commercial. It might make more sense for there to be just like a couple of little stores in here between the school and the medical center. And when I say that, that actually does sound right. And we have some commercial demand anyway. So let's go ahead and place that like that. And again, when I'm talking about what quote unquote makes sense to me, I'm going to be talking from the perspective of an American, because the types, and not just not that Europeans have weird ideas of what makes sense or anything like that. Like, no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just like, based on my upbringing and my experience, that's what I'll be thinking about the cities that I've lived in that are maybe some smaller cities and things like that. Go ahead and zone some more residential there to get some more people in. Looks like demand is high for them. Now, emergency services. That is one compelling area where I don't necessarily feel the need to throw down a ton of those services right off the bat. I will go ahead and put down one fire station over here. Fire stations, it's amazing how little they cover. Like, yeah, this one fire station, you'd think those trucks, that's not that far, guys. That's like, these squares are 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer. That's like, what, 400 meters or something like that? That's not that far for you to drive, little truck. They are 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer, right? I'm not just making that up. I think so. Yeah, that's like a 1/4 mile. The truck can haul its butt a 1/4 mile over here. Of course, everything's scaled down in the city. There's no reason a city of 5,000, for instance, or 7. I think when we hit 7,000, we get a university. There's no reason a city of 7,000 should have a university in it, at least here. So, okay, so we've got all that taken care of. Looks like I'm just keeping an eye on our demand. I will hold off on putting cops down until we start seeing the little crime indicators, just because that's really what drive people away is that crime. So let's hold on that down, or hold off on that. Place a little more commercial here, and actually get rid of that little zone, because I don't want anything being built here where people are pulling off on the street, because I want to leave the street still fairly clear. And I may have been too late. Yeah, I was too late. There's a pennies. Yeah, that's one of the mods I have. A pennies next to a pennies. That doesn't seem right. Get rid of you. Whatever. Oh, and I have a little McDonald's too, which might be a copyright infringement or something like that, but somebody made a little McDonald's, which I think is super cool. I love McDonald's, by the way. Like, a lot of people rag on it for being cheap food. I love it for being cheap food. Like, there's gotta be cheap food in this world, and some of it's actually really tasty too. Cheetos are cheap, but they're tasty. Ramen is cheap, but it's super tasty. My wife actually just got me some a box from Amazon of allegedly really fancy and really good, not really fancy, but really good, I think Indonesian ramen. Like, it's made in Indonesia, and that's where the brand is from. That apparently has been getting, the brand gets like rave reviews and stuff, and everybody loves it. So I'm gonna have to try that. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. That would probably be nice to know, huh? Okay, so so I'm laying down a new block here. And I know I'm breaking my rule about arterial roads not having a lot of intersections. That's really not a ton of intersections. Oh, look at this. Nice little main street with the Maccas on the left. Maccas, that'll make you Australians happy, right? And we've got a bookstore on the corner. Marketplace. Some koi fish. Ooh, that looks good. That looks like Panda Express colors right there. I love fast food, guys. Love fast food restaurants. Love nice restaurants too, but oh man, fast food is just great. It annoys me that our little block scheme... Oh, and we hit Tiny Town. Perfect. Now we can have park areas, industry areas, landscaping, event policies, and park policies. can set down some parks and plazas, some industry areas. We can set down a football stadium, which we are not nearly big enough for. And now we have whole city policies, which is great. So that begs the question. Well, first off, sorry, I'm letting things get ahead of me here. That's the thing I find in this game is that it seems to me like you always run out of like you unlock things faster than you can possibly use things. So if that's annoying you guys that I'm falling behind, like I'm just doing my best to keep up. You know, resources are limited and we have to prioritize with the money we have what we're going to spend on. So we have 4 options for expansion here. We could go over to this side. Do I have my resource map mode available yet? Yes, I do. So we have some farming. Well, we have farming right here on the island. We've got ore on this island too, actually. That's interesting. Some farming here, and then a ton of ore over here. We've got oil down here. There's oil there. And then we've got a lot of farming up here and some oil too. So I would like to move in this direction and claim this area as a farming area pretty early on. Question is, what would be a good way to do that? Probably not just by clicking here. Oh, that's annoying, because then we'd have to go like click, click, click. That's like 3 whole land tiles that we would have to get. We could go over here, although again, that's really not that big of an area for farming. None of these are. And like those, when you do a proper industry area, you need a lot of space. Those buildings and stuff take up a lot of room to make your industry area actually worth anything. So that's not really worth going towards. I think the best option is here. Only 5,800 bucks. And then, yeah, like I say, we'll work our way up north, and this is actually a really good big area for a lot of building, a lot of residential areas. Yeah, and then we'll have our farm area there, and I don't want to build a bridge across here. I would prefer to keep our bridges kind of to a minimum. We're going to have this bridge here, and that's highway, so that we shouldn't have any traffic issues. Travel time issues, yes, but not traffic issues. We'll keep our bridges to a minimum with this highway bridge, and then ultimately there will be a highway bridge that goes over here and links up this way, is what I'm thinking. But for now, what do we do with that space that we just unlocked? Well, I think the answer is nothing. We don't have to do anything right at this moment with it. I'm going to go ahead and we actually don't even really need to zone that much more of most of those things. You should be commercial. Again, it makes sense to me. And based on the cities that I've grown up in and things like that, seems like it makes a lot of sense to have your commercial on the main roads like this. So that should come in. Looks like we are tapped out on demand for industrial. Yeah, I would love to get an industrial area down, a proper industrial area. But like, for instance, if we were to go farming industry, which I can't actually drop yet because I don't have the... But the farming buildings are just so huge. They're big. They're fields, for crying out loud. They need to be big, which I like. We could just turn this into a regular farming area, industrial farming area, and then clean it up later. That's not a bad idea. Let's go ahead and do that. So this whole area here with the fertile ground, which you can tell because it's pale yellow, we'll make a temporary industrial farming area, and it's going to be temporary because the freeway is going to end up going pretty much through it at some point. I say freeway, the interstate, the highway, whatever y'all call it, that's what it is to me. Where are our industrial specializations? There we go. So we have Park Heights, industrial specialized. That building went away because farming specialized, that building went away. And let's go ahead, and again, we don't have to do anything fancy here. This will actually make a lot of sense to a degree, because we'll have windmills on the farmland. I think that is kind of fun. And landfill on the farmland too. And actually, I want you to be. No, we will go ahead with those paved roads. But then I'm gonna weave in and out and around with some dirt roads, kind of. In fact, let's go ahead and do freeform like that, but then we'll go select our dirt roads. Oh, and we do have the industrial roads now. Okay, I'm going to start using those. This can be a nice little dirt road like this. And yeah, dirt roads don't take a lot of traffic. They can't handle a ton of traffic. But for a farming area especially, I think dirt roads make a lot of sense. Any of you who grew up in such an area will agree. One thing with farming is it is intensive as far as using water. So that's one thing to consider when you guys are placing your own farming areas. We can go ahead and zone this for some farming. And that farm industry will just spawn in as demand becomes a thing. And we've got water to it. I am going to have to run a little water pipe through there just to make sure we're covered. Water availability and sewer treatment is still looking great. As I say that, I realize that we haven't extended our water network to cover all the way over here. Okay, so that'll do just fine. Residential demand is growing, so we might as well... I'm thinking let's just go ahead and fill in... Oh, we've got power problems. Yeah, electricity availability is kind of crap. Let's place a windmill. I guess we'll just be fine to go with the 7 megawatt power gen. We can get 8 right there. There we go. That's what we do. And then we're going to have to run just... Oh, wait, no. That'll be fine. Perfect. And it looks like a little farm is coming in, spawning in. Park Heights. There we go. Let's take a look at our city policies, see if there's anything that we want to set. And you know what? While I can afford it, because I always end up overspending and then not having enough money left over for my windmills. Kind of a weird thing to have happen, right? But it just happens. Let's go ahead and put a third one down right there. Okay, and then while we make money, we're making pretty good profit actually, 1,700 bucks. Let's go ahead and take things up to speed 2, and we are starting to get the little crime pop-up bubbles. So we will go ahead and not place down a police station because we don't have the money for it. Let's zone some more residential over here. And then while our money recharges enough so that we can get a police station, I guess we could take a loan. That's the thing. I'll talk about capital financing for small cities here in a minute, or maybe next episode when we... let's go take a look at our city policies, though, see if there's anything that we want to enact for the whole city. So most of these that we have at this point are going to end up costing us money, which is not ideal because we're making a good amount of money, but we want to definitely leverage that as much as we can. Power usage might be worth doing. Water usage, meh. Smoke detector distribution, no. I have a fire department down. They're going to put out fires just fine. They can drive in here, right? Pet ban, reduced garbage accumulation, but reduced happiness. I'm going to go ahead and leave pets. We can have pets, right? That's fine. This is for the entire city, by the way. Smoking in the entire city, we could ban that. I'm inclined to go ahead and leave it, though. That would increase health, but our health is not that bad. Parks and Rec, make your parks and plazas the envy of the country. Moderately increase land value on parks and plazas. Increases the parks and plazas budget by 20%. I think that's just the budget. I don't think that's actually how much parks and plazas spend or cost. So we'll go ahead and enact that. And then schools out is the only other thing we have. Oh, and then prefer parks and park maintenance boost. At some point, we're going to want to make a park. Where that is, I don't know. Move forward. You know what we can do? We can come in here and we can... Let's just take the small loan with 5% interest rate. It's actually not great for a small city loan, but that'll do. And let's grab our police station. And where will you go, police station? This is, kind of becoming our downtown area. So I guess it makes sense to put the police station right here on this corner intersection here. Like that. Boom. And we should see police cars starting to leave. There they go. They're going to go... I don't know who's committing crime in a city of... I guess we're up to 1,300 people now. Wow, that was sudden. Busted 1,000 like nothing. And when we get our next area unlock is when we hit Boomtown at 1,700. Okay, so that's not far away, and we might actually be able to make it up. Except we wouldn't be able to connect the two. We would actually. We'd be connected... here, so we could run power across. Actually, power will run... Oh, God, guys, this is awesome. We can buy this tile next, and while we won't be able to put in any roads to it, we can put in roads off the highway, coming off the highway, and then make this into just a massive farming area. Okay, that's what we're going to do next time, but I think I'm over time already, and already running low on power? Are you kidding me? Good grief. This is why it's just slightly annoying to try to go green energy. Like... Which I guess is what we're seeing in society today, right? Is like, it's annoying and expensive to go to green energy, and like dollars per megawatt, it's still better to burn fossil fuels. But I feel like now we're finally getting to this point with, like, you know, SpaceX doing cool stuff and Tesla doing cool stuff, and electric cars seem like they're finally becoming kind of more of a thing. I feel like we're finally getting to the point where green energy actually is starting to make more sense and get closer in terms of price per megawatt or whatever, you know, dollar per megawatt to the level of burning fossil fuels, which is cool to see. It's cool to see that become economically viable. I'm all for things that are economically viable. If we can do both economically and ecologically viable things, great. But anyway, enough of me lecturing. That's going to be it for this episode, guys. Tune in next time for our first industry area, probably. So take care. Have a good day.